Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Good.
Excellent. The cocktail of the week this week is called the Ocean Drive. Ocean Drive is Malibu rum, blue curacao, orange juice, and cranberry juice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anything with blue curacao, I'm a fan.
I know you are.
It's a bit stunty, perhaps, but I really like it. It's fun. Also, it's a West Coast drink.
The Ocean Drive?
Yeah.
It does sound like something in LA, but...
Plus, it has Malibu, which is funny.
That's true.
I like it.
Okay, good. Okay. Welcome back, by the way. Your dad was in Maryland.
Oh, to me, yes.
To you, hi.
Welcome back, listeners.
Welcome back, listeners, since last weekend. Welcome back to your dad from Maryland.
Oh, yes. No, it's good to be back.
Dear Dad.
I've been gone for something like...
5 days.
It's in the hundreds of hours, or in the low hundred hours.
It sounds short to you because you were not here alone with all these dogs.
That's true. I was driving a day and a half of everything, so it just doesn't seem like that long.
JR Dad drove the Green Bean back up to Maryland, to its permanent home.
And a day later, the driver's license arrived in here.
in Florida. It's okay because we're going to get the actual Green Bean license plates, GRNBN.
Gurnbin.
I'm very excited, and I think we need the old plates or registration for
Sure.
it. So.
Yeah, no, that's
Green
right.
Bean.
Gurnbin.
Okay. Administrative corner.
Yay!
I can't just go into it because you often have a reaction.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I would interrupt you.
I mean, that has happened a bunch of times. All right. Moving on to administrative corner.
Yay!
So there was one day that you were gone this week, and
I was gone for like 3, but I'm sure there was
one of the days that you were gone.
I miss all the good stuff. But go ahead.
It was getting close towards the end of the day, and I hadn't posted a photo yet. I mean, it was mid-afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't posted a picture yet, and I logged on to the Golden Ratio Twitter account, and I had a ton of mentions. And mentions come in all day, even when I haven't posted. But usually, like, if I haven't posted during the day, there'll maybe be 20 mentions that have come in, like, since I woke up.
Are they like, why haven't you posted? Are you going to post?
Where's your post? A couple people tried that once. I think I've told this story where somebody, apologies if this person still listens, I don't know. I mean, this was maybe 5 years ago. It was a long time ago. And I had like a full day of like meetings and class on campus. I was late getting out of the house. You know, this is when I was sharing custody of you with your daughter. So you were not around.
Right.
It was just me. And I was, like got out of bed, feed the dog, do all this stuff, like barely rolled myself into the car on time to get to campus, 2 minutes after my first meeting started. And I was in the parking garage on campus hustling myself in, and I checked the mentions like while I was walking across campus. And one of them is like, Jen's going to owe me an explanation about why the snaps weren't posted last night. And I was like, don't you ever expect me to do anything. This is not my job. I have things to do. Like, I just lost it. I feel real bad about it.
I mean, you did have days where you barely had time to go to the bathroom between meetings. I mean, I remember you being like texting me like, I just got to go to the bathroom for the first time in 3 meetings.
This was one of those days. And
it's been a while, but it was ridiculous.
That was enough to scare anyone off ever again from being like, excuse me, GR Mom, but where's my post of the day?
It's not funny.
Nobody's like that.
But it's not funny.
No, I think everybody knows. So anyway, we normally, it's like people who watched the previous night's snaps, right? That just like they didn't log on until later, and now they're watching the snaps or seeing stuff late, or sometimes they see something cute that they want to show me. So normally there's 20-ish Menchies. And I had like hundreds of Menchies.
Whoa.
And I was like,
oh, wow.
Thought number one is like, fuck. What did I do wrong?
It's like that woman who was flying to South Africa.
Like that? Yes.
That's a nightmare.
Made the AIDS comment?
That's a nightmare.
Yeah. For those of you who missed that incident, it was this PR woman, and she was getting on a plane to Africa, and she tweeted, like, on my way to South Africa, hope I don't get AIDS. And she meant it as a kind of snark at the people who think you would get AIDS from going to Africa.
She was kind of implicitly echoing and responding to or making fun of people who would say something like that, right? I think in the best
Yes. I mean, she
possible
said
version.
that. Everybody who knows her said, like, that's clearly how she would have meant it. Twitter is not the place for making that kind of joke where there is no intonation and people who don't know you. So she's in the plane with no Wi-Fi, and this tweet goes viral. And I believe she was fired from her job, and like a bunch of other things happened while she was on the plane and didn't have internet.
It's like a 10 to 12 hour flight, and when she landed, her world had radically changed without her.
Yep.
Scary.
Just a follow-up article about her. I mean, in the last couple of years, I've read a follow-up article because that was a long time ago that happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, I always worry about. I mean, I'm very careful about not saying anything that like anyone could possibly twist into anything negative. That happens anyway. And I was like, fuck, what did I do that there's 200 Menschies?
Ooh.
No. What the 200 Menschies were is this account, at the mouse on Twitter, Louise, who has 12,000 followers right now, posted a reminder that Japan has an official IKEA mascot that's a Blauhai in a suit. And it's two pictures of a, life-size 6 foot tall Blauhai. It's like stuffed Blauhai in a, we've debated, at least business casual look, jacket, shirt, tie, pants. Khaki pants.
That's why I think it's
brown
business
shoes.
casual.
Actually, different colored shoes in the two pictures here. But at the IKEA...
Is there a dude in there?
There's a dude in there.
There is a dude in there. That's terrifying but interesting.
This Blauhai has business cards. They just say Blauhai.
Oh, they love business cards in Japan.
This Blauhai is only at the Japan IKEA. I guess he's a he from the outfit. Yes, he is at the Japan. I'm sure there's multiple IKEAs in Japan. A IKEA in Japan. Maybe all of them have their own Blauhai, but he gives out business cards. He sit on the couch, like you just come around.
Such a great idea. They're so far advanced in Japan.
They got it all figured out. So I am absolutely familiar with this Blauhai. There was a thing that went around a few years ago with someone who got his business card.
Really?
Yeah. And
oh my goodness.
So I know.
I would get him to sign something or bite something.
I was going to say, he can't sign. He's just got fins.
Can you imagine inviting him to a live show and then having the dog just ripping him apart, ripping his outfit off?
And go there. About 20 of the Menschies were people thinking about that exact thing.
I'm used to being late to things, but thinking I came up with them on my own.
So
that would be hilarious.
Like 100 of them are people just replying to that post with our @
Oh, so
and then
good.
a lot of people like, hey, Golden Ratio, have you seen this?
So good.
By like the next day, I was like, about 5,000 people have sent it to me. Yes.
It's so good, though. Thank you, Louise. I hope you get all the followers and IKEA sends you lots of money.
I don't want anybody to not send me stuff like this. I want to see it, but I like that at least half of the comments on Louise's post are people mentioning me. Have you seen this? I got it DM'd a bunch of times, but mostly it was just in there. So the Menschies overflowed.
That's great. But I hope Louise can make money on this somehow. That'd be fine.
It would be great.
Yep.
I mean, it's probably her most viral tweet. Oh, she's got another viral one. Most of her stuff is not that big, but she got, I think there's 170,000 likes on that post.
Good.
She's got another one with, I don't know, video game cows that got like 90,000 likes. Good job, Louise. You're doing a good job.
The Blowha guy is cute.
He's very cute.
Very cute. He looks like a bumbling middle manager.
Well, I've seen him.
That's what he looks like.
So that's Administrative Corner number 1. Thank you, everyone, for sharing it. If I didn't comment, it's because my Menschies overflowed with with being tagged with that Blowhai. Thing number 2 in Administrative Corner is the Voodoo Nerd Challenge race.
Yes.
It's a fish. It's scheduled for October 1st. You can do it October 2nd if you want.
Did you say a fish?
A fish.
Have we talked about the
No,
official?
you want to tell it?
What? You sometimes walk around when you're being down on yourself and you're like, I'm not very romantic.
I do.
And then I go, that's literally absurd. That is the opposite of true. You are a super romantic person. Like super romantic. And there's many examples. I'm not going to get into them, but this is the one where you stuck a Swedish fish on a card and you said, it's official. I love you. and you stuck it on the door so I would see it in the morning when I went to work. You stuck it on the inside of the front door so I would see it on the way to work.
I think there was a whole like bag of Swedish fish. I didn't just give you one glued on Swedish fish.
But the point was it was Swedish fish, and it was official.
Yeah.
This was like
we did a whole
7
week.
years ago. Yeah, you did many others, but
it was meant to be. That was another
we
one.
were meant to be together.
Yeah.
Yeah, mint, and it was like a dinner mint or something. Yeah, it was a Frango mint, I think.
That might have been. I don't remember. I was just very proud of the little puns.
Yeah, but you kept it going for a week. I mean, you've done many things like that. So anyway, when I think of Swedish fish now, I think of it's official.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I've imprinted.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Well, the race is also official.
Okay.
So October 1st, if you're not a runner, so there's a 5K, a 6-hour race, run as far as you want in 6 hours. That can be 1 mile. It can be 30 miles if you are that fast.
20 yards.
It can be 20 yards.
Right.
It can be, I walked to the kitchen to get a beer and then I went back to the couch and that's my distance. That's fine.
But you have to live with yourself afterwards.
Which like people might be fine with.
I think it's fine. No, I think that's a sign of a different kind of moral strength.
Yeah.
To be like, I have a 6-hour challenge and I'm going to use 30 seconds of it.
Yep. So 5K, 6 hour, and then the Voodoo no challenge. Take a short walk, lay down, refuse to go further, post a selfie. If you want. You don't actually have to post a selfie if you don't want to.
Now, is that part of the 6 hour or is that the third option?
You could do all three. You could do the 5K.
Oh, yeah, in 6 hours.
In 6 hours. And then when you're done with your 5K, just lay down somewhere, refuse to go any further and take a photo.
Yeah. Then you've done all three.
Then you would have done all three.
I mean, you can always do the 6-hour challenge, right? Because it kind of includes everything, anything.
Yeah. It's mostly designed for people who want to go further. But whatever, you can do whatever you want. It is, there's one medal for all three distances. So it's like the Voodoo No Challenge, 5K, 6 hour, short walk, refuse to continue, post a selfie, whatever. Like, if you go to the Twitter account, I don't know if I've put it on Instagram yet. I will, but if you go to the Twitter account, you can see it there.
I can see this is not over lawyered. This is okay. This is good.
It's real.
Otherwise, it'd be like your intent must be to progress forward at a certain pace, or else you've gone to the no challenge and you have no longer qualified for the 6-hour challenge.
Yeah, no.
You cannot backtrack across a latitude line in an opposite direction.
Maybe you could write the terms for the next race.
No, I don't want to. I think this should be a very peace and love kind of. Like, it's just the spirit of Voodoo, who was definitely not over lawyer.
Yeah. So if you want to do it, you don't have to do anything. Closer to October 1st.
That's right. You don't have to do anything anyway, and you'll get a medal if you want.
So it is free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to do anything. Closer to the date of the race, I'll put up a website where you can like type in a number or your name and like print off a little race bib that says like the no challenge.
Sexy beast.
Just print it at your house. And you can submit your time. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to pre-register. You just do it. If you want a medal, though, that costs money because we have to order, get the medals produced.
We don't forge our own medals yet.
Oh my God. We have to, the medals, the reason it has been so long since the race is because the medals are a pain in the ass because we have to like pack them and then there's weird postage and like we sneak around to different mailboxes and drop them in.
Should we do another excursion? We've like swamped mailboxes. We filled big blue mailboxes with medals envelopes before. We've had weekends where we couldn't jam more plastic envelopes into those big blue boxes and had to like go to a different neighborhood, find another blue box, and then put all our like metal envelopes in there. The Postal Service probably has like a be on the lookout kind of thing for like, there's very suspicious activity in Key West this week.
I tried to mail.
All our mailboxes are filled with these metal envelopes because they're kind of like our kitchen color green plastic.
I get bright ones.
Yeah, and it's like distinctive, and there's literally hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And they fill up these blue boxes, and they're kind of heavy in the aggregate.
Yeah. I tried to mail one from the house, just like put it in the box and put the flag up, and the mail lady just wrote no on it and like left it in there.
She probably has been haunted by these things in the past. They had to process these freaking clunky little envelopes.
I'm sure they hate them. So anyway, it's a pain in the ass for us to do them. Plus, like they're legitimately thin enough to ship with regular first class postage, and the post office keeps delivering them to people with postage due, which is mortifying. So we have to pay like the package. So the shipping is actually, it's not super expensive, but it's like $4 to ship them, and we got to get the envelopes, we got to get the labels to print it. Like it's just a process. So if you want a medal, it's $35. Probably 10 to 15 of that covers like producing the medals, shipping the medals to us, shipping the medals out to you, ones that get lost in the mail, like all of that kind of stuff. And then the rest will count as a donation to the Golden Ratio Foundation, which is why we're doing it.
Yes. Not the carrot fund. This is for the foundation.
No, this is for the foundation. So we cannot use it to go on vacation. We can just use it to help take care of the dogs.
Correct. Which we would anyway.
Which is, if you don't want a medal, but you want to donate to the foundation, you can do that. GoldenRatioFoundation.org. You can do it through there. But you should
get a medal. Oh, come on.
The medals are cool. They got Voodoo's cute face.
The only reason we run races is to get medals.
Pretty much.
Oh, I think we've like looked at races before that didn't have a medal, and we're like, eh.
Yeah, but I'm doing this race. Speaking of timed races, I'm doing a 12-hour race on Saturday. So Friday, I'm driving 7 hours, like way up to Palm Coast, which is kind of like by Cape Canaveral.
If you ran, you'd be 12 hours in by the time you got there, and you could just like be done.
That's true.
Why don't you start here and run? I don't understand.
I do that a lot.
Because it's not virtual. This is a real race.
This is a real in-person race. So I'm driving 7 hours up to Palm Coast, Florida, to this little park where I'm going to run a 1 mile loop over and over and over for 12 hours to see how many I can do.
That's too short.
It's 1 mile.
It's too short. I think 3 miles is a better loop. Like 1 mile is, you're almost going to be at an angle the whole time. Like it's not quite a stadium where one leg gets longer than the other one, but it's kind of like that.
The benefit of the 1 mile loop is with timed races, if you're out on the course when the clock ends, your last loop doesn't count typically.
Why is it a benefit? Wait, what?
The benefit to a short loop, because if you had say you had a 10-mile loop, and
you don't get credit for
partial. It depends on the race, but a lot of races it's like you
only what you've completed.
What you've completed. So if there's like an hour left and it's a 10-mile loop, you just don't go out. Even if there's 2 hours left, sometimes you might be like, well, I don't know if I can cover 10 miles in that long, because you're real tired at that point.
That's harsh. That's very strict.
So 1 mile loop. Yeah. You really can maximize your difference. You
lose a mile. Yeah.
So I'm hoping to do 40. 40 should be doable, assuming
40 miles.
Hurts. I think my stretch goal is 45.
45 miles.
We'll see.
Hey.
As long as I get 32, I will consider it a success. I'm hoping for 40.
That's a 50K by
32 miles.
Yeah.
40 miles would be good, though. My last 50K was the one here in the Keys, and it was very hot and slow, and I finished it in 9 hours.
Yeah, and you did the Fakahachi one in like
7.5, I think. Yeah. So I should be able to do 40, assuming everything cooperates. But I don't know if there's a medal. I don't actually know if I get a medal for doing those. I don't know if I get a T-shirt. I'm just gonna go.
There's got to be some
run around
proof that you did this thing besides like there's not. If there's only an online certificate, you should really have a talk.
It'll just show up in my Ultra sign up.
No, come on.
You gotta rotate your microphone a little bit, dear Dad, so the label's down. Yeah. Oh, much better.
That is better.
Yeah.
I hate when it works.
Anyway, so you can do the race for free. I'll keep tweeting it out, but there's on the Golden Ratio Foundation Redbubble, there are race shirts and tank tops. We get a little, Redbubble keeps most of that money, but we get depending on what you buy, a few cents to a few dollars, that all goes to the foundation also. If you buy a sticker, we get like 23 cents. If you buy a T-shirt, we get like $2 or something.
I got to reevaluate my Redbubble buying investment strategy.
It would be better to just.
We don't get all of that money back.
You can just give me the money.
We don't get all of the money.
We don't.
Oh, so where do all my monies go? I got to talk to Redbubble.
Maybe you should talk to your wife.
No, it's been a mistake. It was a mistake. No, I'm not admitting anything to you. You don't need to know the extent of this.
All right.
Oh, I thought we'd make a lot of money buying shower curtains.
All right, so that's the end of administrative corner.
Okay.
Good. Okay, dog updates. Let's see. Hops has been a little bit achy.
Oh, I had a thought.
Oh, yes, please.
Sorry, before you
I
close
love
it.
them. I love your thoughts.
If people, I mean, you don't really need me to say this, but if there are people like that are in the same city or something in the same area and want to run this thing together, feel free.
That's a great
We
idea.
just can't be everywhere. We're
Mhm.
like kind of stuck here on the little, in string of America and can't really get to places. But if you guys want to organize online and do like tweets and replies, and I don't know how the kids do it these days, but you could run together or support each other and have little get-togethers.
That's a great idea.
I mean, it's fun to run together if you're like in the same mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good because you reminded me that a thing I meant to say and then forgot because I was talking about my own race, which is such typical ultra marathoner behavior.
What is it, like things ultra marathoners say?
It's like, well, let me tell you about this 12-hour that I'm doing this weekend. If the whole reason that this Voodoo race is October 1st is because that is 9 weeks from when we announced it, which is the amount of time it takes to do the Couch to 5K program.
Oh.
So if you don't run at all and you think you might want to try doing a 5K, there's a program called Couch to 5K. Tons of Golden Ratio people have done it before because of these other races that we've done, and it has gotten them into running. It's pretty universally loved. It's a great, gentle program, and it's for people who have never run. You have no running foundation experience, and you want to do a 5K. And so it just starts where you'll go out the first week. I think you run like 3 times a week, and you'll do like 1 minute of walking and 15 seconds of running, just alternating for whatever, half an hour. And it gradually increases that balance of running and walking. So you're doing more running and less walking over the course of the program to where it culminates with you running the full 5K. If you do that, if you're thinking about like, maybe this will be my first 5K and I'm going to do it, my advice to you is to run really slow. We have a whole...
Trust the process. Don't be a testosterone-filled Ingo and run too fast and be impatient. Don't be impatient.
Yes. So do the walking when you're supposed to do the walking and do the running when you're supposed to do the running. But I think we have a whole Runs with Dogs podcast about this, and I'm sort of an evangelist for this, that there are, like, I think we get it in our head from like the mile run in gym class that it's like embarrassing if you can't run faster than a 10-minute mile. At least when I was in gym class, it was always like embarrassing the people who needed 10 minutes to run the mile. And
seems a little unfair. A mile is not short.
It's not short.
It gets further than
especially
you think.
if you don't run that far. Like middle school kids don't typically go run.
No,
So
you like run across the gym is like
yeah.
tiring, right? You're like tired after sprinting because you do everything at a sprint in middle school.
But we all get these kind of numbers in our head of like, what's a good speed to run a mile? And I am here to tell you that is all bullshit. And it is why people don't like running, because they're like, oh, I need to run a 9-minute mile. Like, that's not that fast. And so then they try to go run a 9-minute mile and their lungs burn and they get side cramps and everything's terrible. Run a 14 or a 15-minute mile. I run 15-minute miles sometimes. I'm a good runner. And sometimes I'm like, I'm fucking tired. I'm just going to bounce back and forth, one foot to the other. And it's like 14 minutes and 45 seconds. And I was like, you know what? I'm running. It's fine. My regular mile pace at this point, it's a little slower than it was. 13 and a half minutes per mile on my regular runs. Like I can run a little, when we did the 5K, I ran a 12-minute mile. That's the fastest I've run in a long time. Run a 14-minute mile. Don't let society make you feel bad. This is why people have a hard time running, because they feel like they need to run faster than they do. And I run over 1,000 miles a year. Pretty much all of them, it's slower than 13 minutes a mile, and I love it.
It's a really interesting there's almost two worlds, right? Because even in the ultra marathoner community, there are guys who just want to tear it up, and women who are just booking
Yep.
for 100 miles, right? The films we watch and stuff, those are people who run ridiculously fast for a long time. That's their thing, and that's what they can do, and that, I think, gives them joy.
But they'll even walk up a hill.
And they'll walk up a hill. That's right. But I can't do that, and that's not.
That's right.
That, like, chasing them is ridiculous. I might as well chase Usain Bolt or something, right? It's just a completely different world. And the running's supposed to be fun, right? So if you're like listening to a podcast or a murder mystery or whatever, and you're moving forward and you're not hurting, that's pretty good. I mean, you're not actually racing necessarily, right? And I struggle with this. I definitely go out too fast, and I'm still numbers obsessed, but I try to fight it sometimes. I try to fight it. It's more fun to not think about that.
I have more fun running than anybody I know, and I like stop and pick up change and
Pet
other
dogs,
weird stuff.
pet
I
dogs.
pet every dog that wants to be pet.
Yep.
If I get to the end of a block and I'm tired, I'll like walk and turn around to the end of the block and go back.
Yep.
So if you're doing the Couch to 5K, if you're thinking like maybe this will be my first 5K, or like, I don't know if I can do a 5K, you totally can. Do the program. There are paid versions of this program. There's paid apps, but the NHS in the UK has a free Couch to 5K program on the web. Just Google it, and it's one of the first that comes up. Theirs is great. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything for it, and just do it. And for the running parts, run really slow. And if you like to run fast, once you can do the 5K, then there's a billion things that'll show you how to do speed work and get yourself to run faster. But it's a dumb constraint to put on yourself when you're just trying to get running for the first time. It's like, oh, it doesn't count if it's not a 9-minute mile or whatever.
That's right. It totally counts. You're covering the distance, and you're doing it under your own power, and you've done something you haven't done before. I mean, that's pretty good. It's
pretty good.
There's not, like, why do you have to measure yourself? I mean, if I measured myself against Olympic athletes all the time, I would always fail.
Yep.
But that's not the way it should be.
Indeed.
Yeah. Good point.
Okay. Are we ready for dog updates?
Yes.
Okay. So Hops is a little bit achy. She doesn't need to go to the vet for it, but she's got good weeks and bad weeks.
She's got bad arthritis.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, unfortunately, I didn't realize arthritis was such a problem for dogs, but all our dogs seem to have it. I mean, we went to CVS the other day and got like the industrial size gabapentin for all the dogs, but they're like, it's like running under certain dogs' prescriptions, right? So like Chief Brody looks like he's addicted to gabapentin, but we're using it for like 3 different dogs.
Yeah. So she's doing okay, but if you've noticed this week, she's been a little more mellow. Vink, so she has started on carprofen for her very bad arthritis, and she's actually doing better. She still limps a little bit, but she's better than she was before we started her, so that's good. She got a hot spot this week on like the back of her leg, so you can't tell because she is so floofy, but we have a shaved patch on her leg, and we're treating that.
She should be shaved all the way for constant examination.
Oh my God, she'd be so skinny.
She'd look so funny. We could definitely do it like a lion with like a big head and just skinny everywhere, shave her tight everywhere else. She would look like a lion.
Yep. Let's talk about Nacho.
Oh.
Is that boy a project?
He's adorable in so many ways, but man, is he in your face.
He's just still very frantic. Like he walks around and he's looking for like, what can I do? And he'll like pick something up and then he'll put it down, and like
he'll like sit on me and then 2 seconds later get up. Like when I start petting him and I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of, then he's like, dip, 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 I gotta go find, look around. I'm gonna go check out stuff.
I think the more secure he gets in his life, the less he's gonna be like that. He has definitely settled in more. We had some good snug times while you were gone.
He is definitely channeling Voodoo, but at like 16 times speed. Like if Voods hadn't been so slow and deliberate about stuff, I think he would have been a lot like Nacho.
Yeah.
because he was always like going over to the closet to sniff. He was like, "Is there anything in the toy box that I need?"
And Nacho's like, "I know how to open the closet
where's
now."
the toilet paper? Nacho just jams his head in there. Yeah.
So I decided one thing I could do to try to make Nacho's brain busy was teach him some tricks. So he had a good sit and a pretty good down when he came to us, but he didn't know shake. So I taught him to shake and fist bump. I mean, it took 3 days for him to just give a good, reliable, enthusiastic bump it, like
Bump
Hop
it.
used to do all the time.
Yeah.
I have three notes for Nacho. So the one was that he learned his fist bump very fast. So we're going to work on some more tricks. Number 2, I've been walking him a lot, and it's a balance because he does have knee problems. That's why we have him, and you can tell if he
His
walks.
back leg is a bit stiff already. Right? Yeah.
And you can tell like if he gets really long walks over the course of the day that
He's also on carprofen.
yeah, he is, and gabapentin.
Yeah.
But we were out for a walk, and the lightning bugs, the weird Florida Keys lightning bugs that are not, the butt doesn't light up. It's like 2 little eye spots. They're back. They were kind of out in like May, and then they weren't around, and now they're back. And so that we were out for a walk, and there was one just like sitting on the road all glowing, and Nacho's like, "Ooh, interesting. What is that?" And he like ran up to it, and then it kind of like flew, 5 feet over, and Nacho's like, "Whoa." And then he like chased it over there, and then it was like flying around, and Nacho's like chasing it around, and then it kind of bumped into his mouth, and I think Nacho would like to have caught it, and then he was like, "Get it off me! There's a bug in my mouth!" Like totally freaked out, like shaking his head. Oh my god! He didn't eat it. I saw it fly away. It just like bumped into his mouth, and he's like, "Oh my god!"
Everything is very intense for him still. He's still a complete puppy brain.
He also loves to chase the like little tiny gecko lizards around.
It's so distracting.
There's like a billion of them. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And anytime he sees one, he's like, "Shoot!"
Oh, those are the anole lizards, I think, the daytime ones.
The anole ones, yeah. Every time we're on a walk, he's like, "Oh, there's one over there. There's one over there." Yeah, like Nacho, there's like 20 in front of every house. They're everywhere.
We live in a lizard farm. There's going to be lizards.
Yeah. And the final bullet point for Nacho is that it is, I've seen enough. I'm now calling it, he really likes falling off furniture. He falls off the couch like 10 times a day.
He is way too casual about that risk. He does enjoy it. Yeah. He just slides butt first usually.
Yeah. Today he fell off the bed. I was like remaking the bed. I had put the duvet cover on, and so the fitted sheet was on, and he jumped up there. So I'm like, "I'm just putting that flat sheet on top of you." And he was just like, "Great." And
something new.
I was going to take a picture of him, hold up the top sheet and take a picture of him in the little cave. And I went to go get my phone, and I was singing the "Where's the Floof" song, and he's like, had stood up in the meantime.
Which is terrifying.
He looked like a ghost.
Yep.
And was like running around, and then kind of threw himself off the bed onto the floor.
To say it doesn't bother him is selling it short. I think he does enjoy it.
He likes it. That's all I have for dog updates. Brody, the same. Guac, the same. Remy, the same.
Was Nacho the popcorn recipient?
Oh, I forgot.
Or was it Guac?
No,
that was
it was
Nacho, right?
So our neighbor, the neighbors who moved in next door, who are super nice, like they're kind of here part-time, and they're in a here phase now. And they have tons of family who, it's always just like these people are coming down, and then they leave, and the next day these other people come down.
They're very popular in their friends group and family because now that they have a place in the Keys, yes.
And so I think the wife, some of her family, I think, is down visiting. And I was out walking Nacho, and the husband came out his front door, and I was chatting with him, and he's got like a travel mug in one hand. He's like, "I just made myself a drink and some popcorn. It's right out of the microwave."
Coffee, yeah, it's not coffee.
So he's got this freshly, like it's still warm bag of microwave popcorn. He's like, "You want some?" And I was like, "Sure." So I took a couple, and he's like, "Can he have some, Nacho?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so he gives Nacho. Nacho does this just like perfect sit. Just this perfect sit the whole time. He's like looking at him.
The beg sit, yeah.
He doesn't jump around. He doesn't do anything. Perfect sit. And so I talked to the neighbor for probably 15 or 20 minutes. And by the end of that, Nacho had 3/4 of the bag of popcorn.
Because he was just absentmindedly giving pieces to Nacho, right?
As one absentmindedly eats popcorn, he absentmindedly was feeding it to Nacho. Nacho was just in heaven. And then he's like, all right, I'll let you get back on your walk. And I was like, this isn't my dog anymore. This is your dog now. And he's like, I'm going to go with the popcorn guy.
Nacho.
He's like, this is the best day
This
ever.
is the best day. It's all paying off now. It's all paying off.
So yeah, that's dog updates.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't here. I don't know anything else. I just, missed these guys.
Ramblings.
I like ramblings.
You actually are responsible for rambling number 1. So we got this flyer from the Morris Animal Foundation, little update thing that they sent us because the dogs were in the Golden Retriever Lifetime Study.
And it's been 10 years, right? Or like they
Yes.
celebrated 10 years of the study, of starting the study. Yeah.
Yep. So in this little thing that they sent us, it's like a 8-page magazine flyer thing. It says, do you know what your pet is getting into? And it's like, since you're at home more because of COVID, like, here's the new kind of things that dogs are getting into. So it has, here's what the Pet Poison Helpline reported is the top 10 pet poisons based on percent increase during the COVID-19 pandemic. So what stuff that dogs are getting into way more since COVID.
It's just people been calling, though, right? I mean,
What people calling. Yeah. Okay. So let's go from number 10 to number 1.
Okay, I like it.
All right. Number 10 on the list with an 80% increase since the pandemic started, marijuana.
Weed.
Don't give your dog weed.
Dogs weren't eating as much of that before the pandemic. Fair enough.
116% increase in coffee grounds.
Is that a problem?
I think the dogs were eating, I think the caffeine's not good for them. I bet those dogs were eating coffee grounds before and people just weren't home to see them eat the coffee grounds. I don't think people are drinking more coffee.
Maybe. They may be more careless with their trash, though. They may be throwing it in their, like, their open, like their office trash cans or paper garbage. I have theories.
Okay.
I have theories.
Let's not talk about them. Number 8, with a 118% increase, is paint.
Dogs are eating paint?
Paint, and then 120% increase in cleaning supplies and 145% increase in art supplies.
I mean, those are both real bad.
Don't
the
eat
cleaning
any of that.
supplies, especially, I would be calling about that.
Yeah. Coming in at number 5 with a 169% increase is cocktails. Just generally, I guess, making yourself that 5 p.m. cocktail.
Drinking more
drinking it.
cocktails.
And then number 4, wine.
Wait, they've subdivided out cocktails and wine.
Yeah. Here we go. Number 3, brewed coffee. So if they don't get any brewed coffee, that's 220% increase.
Wait, they're drinking the brewed coffee. They're licking out of the coffee mugs of their owners, probably.
And if they can't get that, then they go get the coffee grounds, which are at number 9.
They're trying to make their own coffee is what they're doing.
Yep. That's another one where it's like, that's just because you're home. I mean, I guess you weren't drinking your coffee at home as much before.
You weren't leaving the half-empty cup around. Yeah.
Okay, so coming in at number 2 and number 1 with a 254 and 390% increase respectively
It's
are...
not marijuana, though.
No. Raw dough and yeast from everybody trying to learn to make sourdough. And I would just like to go on the record that sourdough is an inferior bread. I don't like my bread being sour. I don't like sourdough. I would prefer it to just be like white bread if I'm going with white bread with the sour part gone. I don't like it.
Get away from me with your opinions and your Midwestern bread upbringing.
There's sourdough in the Midwest.
And you don't like it.
I don't like it, no.
What is up?
I don't like it. It's because it's like sour.
It's the best variety of bread.
My mom once, like when I was in high school, like this is actually when I was interning at Fermilab, I would bring my lunch every day. And I went through this kick where I don't know why. I would bring like this kind of travel thermos full of honeydew melon and purple grapes and then one bread roll, which I thought was a great lunch. And then by like 1 p.m. I'd be like fucking starving and I'd go eat cookies from the cafeteria.
Yeah, that's a snack. That's not a lunch.
But my mom, so she would, the grocery store, I mean, I was in high school, right? So she would buy the food I needed for my lunch and she would buy like the little bread rolls that I wanted to bring. And one point I was like, Mom, like something's really wrong with the bread you brought this week and it's because it was sourdough. And I was like, it tastes terrible. Like this is gross. I don't care what you all think. You can eat your sourdough.
Sourdough is delicious. It keeps longer. It's superior.
Gross.
I mean, I'm not saying it's superior to anything you like, but it is good bread, objectively.
But it's sour tasting.
Slightly.
Anyway. Okay, so that's that. That's pretty interesting.
Dogs are eating more stuff.
They're eating yeast because you aren't keeping good track of your yeast, you guys.
Why? If a dog ate dough,
That's real
I'm not
dangerous.
sure. Really?
Oh yeah, because it expands in their stomach.
Get out.
Yeah, it like rises, but in their stomach.
Oh,
It's really, really bad for them.
this is something I should know. Although we don't usually have
I
raw
don't make
dough.
yeast bread now.
We don't have. I mean, for a while we had some pizza dough. I think.
I was for a while, but I was never good at it. It's a thing that I tried a lot, and it was fine, but it was never like great. I could never get it like thin enough, or if I rolled it out, you don't roll bread. You toss pizza dough
Yeah.
because then it stays the right texture.
But we had pizza dough in the fridge and freezer for a little while.
Yeah, I would make it, and then
Of course, then we only had
like, screw it.
we only had good dogs. I'm looking around at all these bad dogs. We didn't have counter surfers back then.
No,
They were all saints and angels.
they were.
Well, angels because they were all female dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Probably related. Jerks. Okay.
From last week, which we didn't talk about because I think we had a lot of ramblings last week, we have coconut crabs on the list. Do you want to talk about the coconut crabs?
If you want to freak yourself out, Google coconut crab. Holy smokes. They're way too big. Way too big.
They're extremely giant, like
It looks photoshopped.
Vink-sized?
It looks photoshopped.
They look photoshopped. They absolutely look photoshopped. It's like, there's like Transformers, and it's like, like Bumblebee is like this sports car. What kind is like a Mustang or something?
Yeah.
And like, it folds up into like a Mustang, and then it like stands up, and it's a robot. So if you had like a coconut, that's what a coconut crab looks like. Like it looks like if it adjusted itself into the right shape, it would be a coconut.
If it folded itself all together. Yeah.
But instead, it looks like a bunch of parts of a coconut that are like stuck onto a crab, much like it looks like parts of a car are stuck onto a robot.
This is really a good analogy. Yeah.
Except it's not the size of a coconut if you did that. It's the size of Vink.
I mean, I don't know what they weigh, but it looks the size of Vink fluffed out. I mean, it's ridiculously large for a crab. Ridiculous.
There's a picture that someone had shared when I was looking through this of a trash can, like a full-size trash can out at the curb, and a coconut crab is hugging it, and the coconut crab reaches from the ground to the top of the trash can.
If I saw a thing like that, I think it would be the end of me. I don't think my brain could handle it. I would freak out.
This guy, I'm going to show you this picture. This guy's holding one. And the span of its arms are the same as the guy's arm span. Like it's probably 6 feet across.
This guy may be an idiot, or it may be dead. It may be a dead one.
I mean,
because they also have.
I'm mashing play in the video.
I sure did.
The people listening to the podcast wouldn't hear that.
Oh, okay.
Only we can hear that audio. I'm going to see if the crab moves in the video. There's just a lot of him like picking up coconuts, so
yeah,
we don't have to wait for this.
It did. Because they have claws, very strong claws.
They do.
Very strong.
The crab is alive.
I don't like it.
Here it is crawling around. There's plenty of videos that you can see of them crawling around. But
I don't like it.
I would say it's the size of. I mean, if you just take the body part. Right, the legs obviously like stretch way out, but the body part is the size of
a volleyball.
Bigger than a volleyball.
Basketball.
I'm gonna go with bigger than a basketball, maybe. That's why I'm struggling here.
Yeah, that's getting into more than ball.
Like
size.
a backpack.
It looks like the size of a backpack, which is scary as.
They're fucking huge. This one's like waving its tentacles at the dude. Terrifying, brown, huge,
and pinchy.
Huge. And pinchy. Yeah. We watched a video of one that had grabbed onto some dude's golf clubs.
That's right.
And it just
chomped. It was an Aussie man one, yeah.
Pinched down on the golf club, and the golf club broke in half.
Just chopped the head off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
which makes you wonder what it would do to your head.
There is a picture of coconut crabs and dogs, and the dogs are barking at them, but the coconut crabs are about the same size as the dogs. And they're not little. They're not like Pomeranians. They're dogs.
I don't think we'll leave that comment aside. I don't think I'd let my dogs get near a
Oh,
coconut
no.
shrub. There could be real nose pinching and eye loss and ear losing. And I mean, this could be really bad.
That would be one of those like adrenaline fueled moments where I'd like run down there and just like pick CB up in one arm and walk in the other arm and like throw them into the car or something to get them off the beach and then be like,
Yeah.
oh, I've torn so many ligaments.
And then the crab would like puncture your tires or something and slash your brake line.
Yeah.
Man, they must be their power. They have to have clauses at least as strong as a like chess computer or chess robot.
Go ahead, tell your story.
Oh, I think it was in Russia. Of course, it was in Russia.
Yeah.
There was a Russian chess robot, right? Chess playing robot that was playing against an 7-year-old boy. And at some point during the match, it grabbed the boy's finger and broke it.
Yep.
Which is just the beginning of every artificial intelligence movie where the robot uprising begins.
It's just because the boy violated
The Russians
safety
immediately
protocols.
blamed the boy.
7-year-old.
He shouldn't have been reaching across the board. He's playing chess.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the game. No, our robot is perfect. Friggin' robots.
All right, it's time for Taste of the Keys.
All right.
We have 2 stories this week, both by friend of the squad, Gwen Filosa.
Yes.
A tourist filled a bucket with Queen Conch in the Keys, police say. He went to jail.
That's
the
good.
headline.
And I'm not so sure he was only a tourist.
All right. In the Florida Keys, you could land in jail for keeping undersized lobster tails or swiping protected seafood from the ocean. That's how seriously police and prosecutors go after people who break conservation laws. A 51-year-old Houston man learned about that Wednesday after stuffing Queen Conch in a bucket and inside a shirt, according to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Tony, let's just call him Tony, was charged with a misdemeanor for harvesting Queen Conch and booked into the county jail. The visitor to the Keys didn't get far in his conch stealing scheme, deputies said.
Good one.
Conch stealing scheme.
Very alliterative.
Tony was walking out of the water beneath now, I like to call this the Channel 5 bridge. It's Channel 5, but I call it the Channel 5 bridge, near mile marker 71.5 with a 5-gallon bucket and a gray shirt. When deputies crossed his path, he threw his shirt under his vehicle. Tony had placed 3 conch in the shirt and had 5 more in the bucket, deputies said.
This convinces me that he knew, right? This wasn't like a visitor who was like, oh, I didn't know. He was hiding these things, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
He was caught at a spot in the Middle Key city of Marathon and between the Middle Key city of Marathon and the village of Islamorada. The Queen Conch were returned to the water alive.
Good job.
Said Adam Lindhart, who we're going to hear from in the next story as well. He's the spokesman for the sheriff's office.
Oh, good.
Tony was taken to the county jail on Stock Island. About 4 hours later, he was released without having to post bond. Unclear if he has legal representation. So, don't take Queen Conch. You can get him in the Bahamas. You can get him all over the Caribbean. But you're not allowed to take him out of the water in the Florida Keys.
And this is the shells with the living little animal in there. That's what we're talking about here. If you find it, if you happen to find a shell with no animal in it, which never happens, go ahead.
Never happens except one time.
Except at least one time.
I was like, Ingo, it had been a long thing. I was like, man, both as a respecter of wildlife conservation and a vegetarian, I do not take sea creatures out of the water. But I was like, I would love to have a Queen Conch shell. And we were on a little mini vacation.
We were
kayaking up, 10 miles up the road. And Ingo's like, there's a conch shell down there. And I was like, all right, but we can't take it. We can't harvest it.
Right.
And we picked it up. There was nothing but decomposed black sludge in that thing.
Yeah,
It's
and
beautiful.
I don't know if it fell off a boat or something, but it looks great.
That thing had been, whatever had lived in there had been dead for a long time.
Yeah.
It took a long time to get the smell out of there. But we've also found dozens of bleached out white empty ones. This one's pink on the inside and beautiful, but tons of empty conch shells.
Right.
That are long dead.
That are 10 years old or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, this dude knew. He was
totally knew.
Completely, breaking the law.
All right.
You said there was a second incident.
Piper the parrot.
Oh.
Piper the parrot went missing. A Keys man is now in jail and accused of animal cruelty.
Good.
We won't go too much into detail about the injuries sustained by the parrot. The parrot is still alive. So there's talk of parrot.
Parroticide.
Yeah, but the parrot makes it.
Yep.
It gets hurt, but we won't be gruesome or graphic with our details. A 40-year-old Florida Keys man was arrested Tuesday after deputies said he stole his roommate's pet parrot and paraded it around on his shoulder, only to leave it at a bus stop, suffering from multiple broken bones.
Ugh.
Justin David Peters, known by the nickname Redbeard, he probably made that up. He's like, you guys can call me Redbeard. Was charged with felony grand theft and misdemeanor animal cruelty for taking the Eclectus parrot worth $1,800 and leaving it seriously battered. On Tuesday evening, Peters was locked up at the county jail on Stock Island.
Good job.
His bond is $30,000. Piper the parrot is back home and recovering from injuries that include a whole bunch of stuff. Like he punched that parrot or something. We aren't going to list it. It's not good. You can look it up. While the arrest was made Tuesday, the crime took place over the course of a day or two in June in the Lower Keys. On June 13th, a business owner noticed a man, later identified as Peters, with a red parrot at a nearby bus stop on Summerland Key. Later, when the business owner looked at the bus stop again, the parrot was alone on the bench.
Aww.
He took the bird, called the sheriff's office, and tried to find the parrot's owner. People at a restaurant and gas station in the area also reported seeing the same man with the same red parrot. The bird, quote, appeared to be stressed and agitated. This is from Lindhart, the sheriff's spokesman who we heard from in the previous story.
Yes.
One person urged Peters to return the bird to its cage because it looked distressed. Security camera footage shows Peters was at the two businesses. The next day, Piper's owner, a 37-year-old woman, told deputies that Peters stole her pet bird from their shared home after she had repeatedly instructed him to leave the bird alone. He did not have permission to take Piper out of its cage, let alone take it out in public with it perched on his shoulder.
So he's trying to make some money with a pirate on his, whatever, doing a pirate act.
Maybe he just thought it would be funny, like, I'm going to put this parrot on my shoulder.
This guy sounds like a great roommate. He does not.
No, we gotta get a new roommate, man. The medium-sized parrots can live for 20 to 30 years in captivity. The females are deep red with a violet-blue belly, which is what this one is, while the males are mostly bright green. Peters has a prior criminal case in Monroe County. On October 21st, he pleaded no contest to disturbing the peace and property damage, both misdemeanors, and was sentenced to 14 days, time served, and ordered to pay a total of $618. On September 1st of 2021, he was arrested after being found lying in the street near mile marker 25. Peters, who deputies said was shirtless and appeared to be, quote, under the influence, also destroyed a mailbox.
Wow, he really is not in a good place.
Nope. He lived on Summerland for a while, and then he was up on the mainland. But what's really important is that he was taken to jail.
Without the parrot. That's good. I think they should accidentally release the Stock Island emu into his cage.
Oh, you like birds?
You like birds? Emmanuel?
Don't do it, Emmanuel.
Yeah, this bird
Actually,
is
totally do it,
taller than
Emmanuel.
you are.
All right, that's it. We now have German Word of the Week and Ingo Corner.
Yes, German word is 2 words, but it's tödliche Krankheit.
Tödliche Krankheit.
Deadly disease.
Krankheit.
Krankheit is disease.
Krank is
sickness
sick.
or disease, yeah.
Yeah.
And we were reading an article about tödliche Krankheit because someone in, Switzerland?
Switzerland, yeah. Banned.
Has diphtheria.
2 people have diphtheria.
Diphtheria.
You guys, diphtheria is so bad.
It's really nasty.
You get a mucusy plaques on the back of your throat, like on your tonsils and in your throat and on your soft palate, but you can't get it off. It's like when you have a scab, it's connected into your skin. So if you tried to pull the gunky scab off, you just pull the skin off. That's what it's like. And then it gets really hard, and then it grows down your throat, and then it suffocates you to death and you die.
There's names for this, right? The death whistle or something. There was
yeah, that's right, because you're just kind of trying to breathe through it.
With angel in it too, because it happened to kids a lot, right?
Yeah,
a lot of kids got diphtheria.
Yes, it's not good.
One of the great podcasts that we started listening to a long time ago, haven't kept up with. This podcast will kill you has a great episode about diphtheria.
The diphtheria episode is how I got you into that podcast, because it opens with this dramatic description of the diphtheria like growing down the throat of someone,
and then not being able to breathe anymore.
you can't breathe and you die.
Yeah.
5 to 10% risk of death if you get
Which is
diphtheria.
huge mortality rate.
Yep.
It's huge.
But you can treat it with antibiotics. And before antibiotics, there were other treatments that they used, and that is the story of Balto. Yep.
Balto
Was bringing treatment for diphtheria to an outbreak in remote
which
villages.
I think is the basis for the Iditarod.
I don't know if that's
I
true.
think it's that route.
Maybe. I'm going to look that up while we talk about it. You can talk about the word. Anyway, there's some people have it in Switzerland.
Yeah, and they were saying it's a tödliche Krankheit.
Yeah.
And
they're at an asylum center.
yes,
Is where the outbreak was.
Bundesasylanstalt or Bundesasylzentrum.
Yep,
That's what it was.
right. You appear to be correct. Like looking at the Wikipedia page for the Iditarod, it says history, and what's important is that they have a picture of the statue of Balto that's in Central Park.
Yeah, it commemorates that run to get the diphtheria what was it, the
most famous event in the history of Alaskan mushing is the 1925 Serum Run to Nome, also known as the Great Race of Mercy. It occurred when a large diphtheria epidemic threatened Nome because Nome's supply of antitoxin had expired, because it's a bacterial infection, but it's the toxin produced by the bacteria that causes the problems. So they had antitoxin, but it expired. Dr. Curtis Welts sent out telegrams seeking a fresh supply of antitoxin. They found some near Anchorage, 1,000 miles away. And to get the antitoxin to Nome, sled dogs had to be used for part of the journey because planes could not be used and the ships were too slow. The governor approved a safe route for the 20-pound cylinder of serum that was sent by train to Seward. And then it was passed on to the first of 20 mushers and more than 100 dogs who relayed the package 674 miles from Nenana to Nome. The dogs ran in relays an average of 31 miles each.
Oof.
One of Sapaya's workers, Norwegian musher Gunnar Kassen, and his lead dog Balto arrived on Front Street in Nome on February 2nd at 5:30 a.m. just 5.5 days later. The two became media celebrities, and a statue of Balto was erected in Central Park.
And apparently there's a movie about Balto called Balto.
And the other dog, Togo.
Togo was better.
Togo covered the most hazardous stretch of the route.
Right.
Balto gets all the glory because Balto got the final leg, but Togo did the hard part.
And this is a cool name, Balto.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were both good boys. Good dogs. Could be theys.
Yeah, so the Iditarod, like, it is a trail that has long been used by the First Nations people in Alaska, and then it was kind of turned into like a pretty regular trail for like delivering mail. And yeah. So this is more like the history of mushing.
Anyway, diphtheria.
Yeah. Tödliche Krankheit.
And you and I won't get it because we just got our Tdap
Woo!
renewed.
You guys, your Tdap, it's got 3 things. Tetanus, the T, diphtheria, the D, and pertussis, which is whooping cough, the P. And let me tell you, man, I know I've talked about it before, but I had whooping cough and it is not good.
Yeah.
It's not plaques growing down my throat.
Nobody wants to get tetanus either.
No, you don't want to get tetanus.
That's like around, yeah.
Just Google these illnesses.
Yeah.
Google image search these illnesses.
Tetanus is lockjaw, right?
Yeah.
It's bad.
There's that famous picture of a guy with... Have you seen this picture?
I don't know.
I'm going to show it to you.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. It's a really famous painting of a guy with tetanus. And so he's like trying to be laying down, but all of his muscles are tense. So he's kind of like in a back bend arch.
Is that called the bone breaker? Is that tetanus?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because all of your muscles contract. Your bones will break. Like sometimes you have muscle spasms so much that your bones will break. My bones broke with whooping cough. I broke ribs because I was coughing so hard. Like these are just brutal illnesses that you don't have to get, but you have to get a Tdap every 10 years. So if you stepped on a nail or something, you probably got it. Like they could just give you tetanus, a tetanus shot.
Right.
But
it's often packaged as Tdap.
It's often packaged as Tdap. Just check. You know what? If you don't know, just go get one. You can get it at CVS. Your insurance will cover it for free. And it's not like, I mean, I've never had bad side effects from the COVID shot, but all it does is give you a sore arm.
Yeah.
For like a day.
It's not that bad.
No, it's fine. So get that, because you don't want any of these diseases. There's a lot more tetanus around than diphtheria or pertussis, but more of all of them because of people not getting vaccinated. You don't want it.
And traveling around, right? I mean, it's
Get your Tdap, you guys.
Get your Tdap. Don't get diphtheria.
Don't get tödliche Krankheiten.
Don't get any tödliche Krankheiten.
Okay.
Okay.
Ingo Corner, it's time for you to talk about anything you want. Or nothing at all. No pressure.
I think I'm good. I think, things are fine.
Okay.
Things are fine. I don't have anything to add. And putting me under pressure like that really reduces my interventions.
Excellent. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for listening. And until next week, Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.